Welcome back to the Ziggy Zone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Ziggy, and the table has been set for the 2014 Super Bowl. Representing the NFC, we have the Seattle Seahawks, and coming out of the AFC will be the Patriots out of New England. I guess they're representing the entire region. It was an unfortunate turn of events today for Green Bay, who had been leading most of the game and for some reason failed to put a point in the second half. The defense for Seattle really showed up and they showed out. You talk about a resilient Seahawk team. And to be perfectly honest, as much as I wanted Green Bay to go, Seattle proved why they were the NFL champions last year and why they are a solid contender for the Super Bowl this year. They definitely earned it. Uh, they earned it, and you have to give them credit where credit's due. So you talk about the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New England Patriots. This is going to be a Super Bowl to watch. It's going to be an interesting one. You talk about an elite quarterback who has cemented his place into history as being probably one of the great quarterbacks. And then you have an up-and-coming young quarterback who is working on his legacy. So it's one to watch. It's in 2 weeks from today, Sunday. I don't know the day. It might be January 18th. And so we'll see on February 1st. Is it February 1st? I'm sorry, y'all. Look at me. I'm tripping. I think the Super Bowl is February 1st. Yep, February 1st. I just checked my phone real quickly to see what will happen. Seattle they're making a name for themselves as being a legitimate team, as being an elite team. And it's very hard to maintain an elite status in the NFL. Trades, injuries, age, things of that nature. I'm not going to call Seattle an elite team just yet, but I guarantee they are knocking at the door of being an elite team. You have an interesting concoction of a team with New England. Tom Brady's a magician. I say it week in and week out, and I literally mean it. Tom Brady can score. And I think the guys on his offense are like afraid of him. So they have no choice but to make plays with the ball. They have a defense that is like piecemeal. They don't really have major, they don't have, they have Darrelle Revis. They have some big names, but their defense, it works. But they're coached by Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick is he's like the Greg Popovich of the NFL. Greg Popovich is the coach for the NBA's San Antonio Spurs, who knows how to coach the roster in which he has. He knows how to make them playoff contenders, and he knows how to make them Super Bowl champions. And Bill Belichick has very similar qualities of one of my favorite NBA coaches currently, Greg Popovich. So you don't need all the big names, You don't need all the egos and all of the fluffy stuff. New England really doesn't have it. They have Tom Brady, and that's it. However, Tom Brady can't win a game by himself. And so Bill knows how to manage his pieces. And I think that with all of the fanfare behind Seattle, they may need to humble themselves for what they're about to embark on with one Tom Brady. Because it won't be easy for either team. I have been wrong this entire postseason. I mean, my better mind, I can't go for Seattle just because Niner Nation. But, I mean, it makes sense why Seattle's here. They've earned it. Totally, no shade. They've earned it. Um, I would have liked to have seen Andrew Luck and the Colts come out of the AFC. They really gave it their all. However, it's Tom Brady. You almost sort of expect, if Tom Brady and the New England guys can get past Baltimore, then it's almost as if it's a given that they'll make the, Super Bowl. No shade to the AFC, just saying. So with that being said, we're not really going to do any predictions, mainly because it's a toss-up. It is going to be a very fun Super Bowl game to watch. And even if your team, even if you're not a Seahawks fan, and even if you're not a Patriots fan, for the other 30 of us, those of us who are fans and love and appreciate the history of one of the other 30 teams, I believe. We're over 16, 32, right? Yeah, right? 4 times 4, 16, 16. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was doing my math real quickly. How many teams? I should know this already. It's kind of late. But for the rest of us who our loyalty lies with one of the other 30 teams that obviously didn't make it to the Super Bowl, you still want to see that action. That it'll be some good action sort of to conclude the season, just so you can get your mind off of your team not making it. I mean, some of you sort of knew your teams weren't going to make it. Others of you had hoped your team will make it. And then there's a small group of you whose teams did better than you anticipated. So for all of us, hey, I'm on that boat too. No shade. I'm on that. Listen, 49ers, they've been home since December. So I'm right there with you. They ain't even make the playoffs. But as a fan of not only the 49ers, but of the sport of football, I can say that it is a Super Bowl that I'm actually interested in watching. Because I can guarantee you, last year I wasn't interested in watching no Super Bowl. The year before that I was, because the 49ers was playing the Ravens. And then the year before that, when the Giants beat the 49ers, I wasn't interested in no Super Bowl. But this one, ladies, please be kind to your men on Super Bowl Sunday. If you don't know what's going on in the game, don't be asking him no questions in the middle of the game. Trust me. He ain't got time for that. He talking trash with his friends. Now, I'm not saying be a stereotypical woman that gonna make snacks. That ain't cool. No. What you need to do, my sister, is go ahead, pull out your phone, and start Googling stuff. So that when they start talking, you will know what they talking about. At the very least, do yourself a favor and ask your boo thing, oh, who you going for? He tell you Seattle? Okay, well, make yourself familiar with the players on Seattle. If Boo Boo Stank Steak tell you Patriots, get familiar with who's on the Patriots. That way, if somebody say, oh, that was a great play Sherman made, you'll actually know who Sherman is. If someone says, oh, they're on Revis Island, you'll have an idea of what Revis Island is. I promise you, I want you to connect and enjoy Super Bowl Sunday and not be annoyed with him, and for him to not be annoyed with you. I promise you that was my free gift to you. That was my little digression. I just had to put that in there for my sisters. I understand it's difficult for you, those of you who don't have not a near idea what's going on, who doing what, why the ball flying all over the place. Totally get it. Google it, figure out some players, and then go from there. That's your best bet. But going back to the Super Bowl, which will be in 2 weeks, it's going to be fun. It's going to be really interesting. And I will find myself at a Super Bowl party. I'm not having one because the 49ers not in the Super Bowl. Ain't nothing to party about. But I understand, know, and actually anticipate this matchup. Because if you really want to see two premier teams, because neither team is really elite, New England has an elite quarterback, but their team isn't elite. Seattle, they're knocking on the door of being elite. And so, with that, we won't do predictions this week. We'll just say good riddance. The season's almost over because I'm no longer salty about the 49ers not being in the playoffs, but it's just not as fun if the 49ers aren't in the playoffs. And so there's many of you who support and represent one of the other 29 teams that's not the 49ers, or one of the other 30 teams that's not in the playoffs. And then there'll be another team, that 31st team, who didn't get a championship either. So whether you went to the playoffs or not, your team still ain't got a championship ring. And we'll need to come together in solidarity and maybe cry, pour one out for the homies. It's very difficult this time of the year. Ladies, be kind to your men. Men, be kind to your ladies. This has been your Ziki Zone for the week.